throughout all the generations, when it comes to Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, the central theme of everything is Akaidas Yitzchak. So we'd like to think into Akaidas Yitzchak a little bit and understand it, and it can be helpful to us for the Yemei Hadin and also throughout the year. This is something we can do for ourselves, to improve ourselves. We'd also like to speak, as Yizkor has said on Yom Kippur, what we can do to help our brethren who are deceased. So we want to see what we can do to help ourselves, and we also want to see what we can do to help our brethren who are deceased. Regarding Akaidas Yitzchak, we find that Rashi brings down Chazal that Nismacha Misa Sora La'Akaidas Yitzchak, that the death of Sarah Imenu was written in close proximity to Akaidas Yitzchak. For what reason? So Rashi brings down Chazal because Al Yedei B'Surah Su'Akeda, because of the being informed that Yitzchak was Nizdamen B'no L'Shchita, that V'Kimat Shaloi Nishchata, that Yitzchak was almost slaughtered. Parcha Nishmasa, she couldn't withhold. She couldn't remain alive after hearing such a besura. Parcha Nishmasa Mimena V'Mesa. Her neshama left her and she died. This was by Sarah. She couldn't remain alive hearing that her beloved son Yitzchak was almost slaughtered on the Akaidah. Whereas by Avram Avinu, it says Avram Avinu took the ma'acheles, he took the knife to slaughter his one and only son, Yitzchak, and he was able to calmly take a knife and be ready to kill his son. What's the difference? Why is it that Avram was able to calmly go through with slaughtering Yitzchak, and Sarah Imenu, who was greater than Avram Avinu in prophecy, couldn't possibly cope with it? What's the difference? Moran Agoin Reb Chaim Shmulevich Zechet Tzaddik Levrocha tells us the secret. Avram Avinu was able to cope with the Akaidah because it happened with lapses of time in between. The Rebbeinu Shalom said to Avram, Kachno es bincha es yechidcha asher ahavte es Yitzchak. This is Rashi, Chazal, Bereshis Chav Beis, Posuk Aleph, where the Rebbeinu Shalom said, Kachno es bincha es yechidcha asher ahavte es Yitzchak. Everything is broken down separately. As bincha, the the Rebbeinu Shalom says, take your son. And Avram Avinu said, Shnei banim yeshli, I have two sons. Which one? Es yechidcha, the Rebbeinu Shalom says, your one and only son. And Avram answered, Ze yochid li'imai, v'ze yochid li'imai. This one is an only son to his mother, and this one is an only son to his mother. Asher ahavta, take the son that you love. And Avram Avinu said, "Es shneim ani ohev." It was all broken down. He was brought into this test, tipin, drop by drop. And these lapses of time gave him a chance to embrace, to brace himself that something is up, something is going to happen to one of his sons, and he was able to brace himself. These lapses of time helped him. And Rashi concludes, why didn't the Rebbeinu Shalom reveal to Avram Avinu from the outset, take Yitzchak? Shaloi la'arbevoi pisayim. Because if he would suddenly, here, take your son and bring him as an Ola, that would disorient him. That would confuse him. And he would not be able, just like Sarah couldn't cope with it, he would also not be able to cope with it. The difference between Sarah and Avram is that Sarah was taken into this. Sarah heard about Yitzchak's brush with death suddenly, and she couldn't cope with it. Avram Avinu, the Rebbeinu Shalom brought him into this test, slowly, lapses of time, and he was able to keep bracing himself. Something is up with one of my children. I don't know what, I don't know which one, but something is up, and he was ready for something. The explanation for this, a little bit clearer, might be that when a person hears something very shocking, it brings out something in him that first moment, and afterwards, as he's bracing himself for what's going to come ahead, it gets less and less and less and less. Maybe that's some way to explain it a little bit. In Yiddish, we have an expression that maybe says it all. The word is eingewöhnt. He becomes used to a certain situation. When Avram Avinu heard, take your son, he knew something is up with a son. He became used to the situation that something is up with a son, with one of his sons. And he became used to that situation. The next step, it's not going to be as harsh as the first step. The first step says, take your son, and then that you love, that your only son. He keeps getting used to it. If he keeps getting used to it, he can cope with it. That's the way Moran Agoin Reb Chaim Shmulevich Zeichet Tzedek Livracha explains this. In application to our daily lives, even though being eingewöhnt is a great thing. It helped Avram Avinu overcome the test of the Akaidas. But bringing it closer to our own lives, I remember a story about a family that had Nebuch, a son. The son must have been 8, 9, 10, who was a Cholim Mesukon. He was deathly ill, terminally ill. And this family came to America to see doctors. And somebody had the audacity to ask the mother, how does she cope with all this? Knowing that you have a terminally ill son, how do you cope with it all? And she answered one word, "Men wird eingewöhnt." She became used to the situation, that something is up with her son. And that gave her the koyach to be able to continue. So, eingewöhnt, getting used to a certain situation, that's what eingewöhnt means. Getting used to a certain situation helps. It helped Avram Avinu overcome the Akaidas. It helped this woman, Nebuch, cope with a terminally ill son. So these are positive reasons, positive means, through being eingewöhnt, where it helps. But on the other hand, there's also an eingewöhnt that's not so good. And that is, when it comes to ruchnius, when it comes to spirituality, we daven yesterday, we daven 2 days ago, we daven 3 days ago. It becomes sort of routine. It's sort of rote. We keep doing the same thing without heart, without soul. I davened yesterday, I'm going to daven today. I benched yesterday, I gave Stucky yesterday, I'll give it today. It's just routine. We become used to doing something, and it lacks soul and heart. So, the lesson we could learn from Akaidas Yitzchak is to keep that first fire burning. Don't let it become reduced. Keep that fire burning. Our ruchnius will continue to grow and grow and grow. It wouldn't become reduced. It wouldn't become less. And that is the message of Akaidas Yitzchak. And that is something that could help us grow spiritually. Keep that first fire burning. And then we will just grow more and more and more. Regarding Yizkor on Yom Kippur morning, what can we do? And that's a way we can help ourselves by trying to keep that first fire burning. Because if we don't, it's going to keep reducing itself. What can we do to help our departed? Our departed also need kapora. They need forgiveness on Yom Kippur. And that's the way it's brought down in the Shulchan Aruch. And some say Yom HaKippurim means plural. It means Yom HaKippurim for those living. It's a day of forgiveness. It's also a day of forgiveness for the departed. What can we do to help them? The first thing we should know is that our tefillas that we daven for the departed can help them on their Yom Hadin. As we find in the Gemara in Saita by Avshalom. Avshalom was a bad son to David HaMelech. He tried to kill his father. He committed sins publicly, immorality in public. Yet, Avraham Avinu, yet David HaMelech davened for his son. He loved his son, even though his son was such a sinner. He davened for him, and when David HaMelech heard that Avshalom was killed, the pasuk says, he said, B'ni, 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 8 times. And Chazal learn out that David HaMelech's tefillas brought Avshalom out of Shiva Medurei Gehenim into Chayei Olam Haba. Brought him into to live in Olam Haba. So we see from here that tefillah helps. The tefillah helps. Hachai yochel lohokel din hameis. The living can alleviate the din of the departed, the judgment. Another something that we can do to help our departed is to give tzedakah in their memory. The Sefer Pnei Baruch, the Sefer Pnei Baruch on Akaidas tells us that the main point of Yizkar is to remind ourselves of the departed and to give tzedakah in their memory. Giving tzedakah in their memory is something that can help the departed have a kapora. So we find tefillah even for an Avshalom, for a Rosha, and we find tzedakah, which is the main point of Yizkar. Now, who should we give tzedakah to? There's a story that a woman died in Chutz La'aretz, and the family wanted to do whatever is best for her. And they decided that they should gather money and bury her in Eretz Yisrael. What else can equal burying a person in Eretz Yisrael? But as they were collecting all the money, somebody came with a brainstorm. Maybe instead of burial in Eretz Yisrael, we should give the money for Hachzokas Torah in her memory. To be machzik Torah, and they were uncertain what to do. Rav Shach was then a young man. They appointed Rav Shach to go and ask the Chofetz Chaim this shaila. Rav Shach made the trip, and he came to the Chofetz Chaim and presented him with this question, and the Chofetz Chaim said in no uncertain terms, Hachzokas HaTorah, helping yeshivas, helping poor people sit and learn Torah, far exceeds burial in Eretz Yisrael. And he repeated it many times. Achzokas HaTorah, Achzokas HaTorah. There should be no question as to what he said. So this is our message for ourselves, to keep that fire burning and not let it get reduced, that first fire. Don't get eingewöhnt. Don't get used to the situation, but keep that fire burning more and more. And that will ensure our own ruchnius and our own kapara and our own forgiveness. And we should remember that we can help the departed. We can help the departed by davening for them, even in Russia, even in Avshalom, was able to attain Olam Haba from the Shiva Medurei Gehenim through the tefillah, through the tefillah of their father, of his father, David HaMelech. Giving tzedakah in memory, saying Yizker, and giving tzedakah in memory of the departed. And also giving money for Achzokas HaTorah will be that much more of a plus. The Eibishter should help us. We should all be zeicha. The Chayim and the Meisim should be zeicha to Ki Vayom Hazeh Yechaper Aleichem, that we should have a kapora, we should all have a clean slate, and we should all be zeicha to a gemach simatayva lanu ulachol Yisrael. Amen.